Hey everyone, welcome. So today we're going to dive into the real story of building an AI agent. And let me tell you, it's not all clean code and perfect logic right out of the gate. Oh no, it's more like a hero's journey, complete with dragons to slay and some amazing insights to uncover along the way.
So here's the plan. First, we'll look at the mission, the initial quest to build this perfect agent. Then, we'll see how the team had to literally forge a gold standard just to figure out what perfect even meant. After that, we're jumping into the simulation arena, where the first bugs, the first dragons, started to appear. We'll walk through the whole refinement cycle, watching the agent learn and evolve from its own mistakes. And finally, we'll pull it all together and look at the big lessons learned from this whole journey.
All right, let's kick things off with the mission. Every great quest starts with a simple idea, a clear goal. And in this case, it was to build an AI chatbot that helps customers book HVAC services. It sounds pretty straightforward, doesn't it? A simple tool for a simple business problem.
And this, right here, this shows you just how simple it all seemed at the beginning. The very first prompt that brought this agent to life was this one sentence. That's it. You are AI-powered conversational agent that assists customers in booking HVAC services. It's so clean, so optimistic, and so unprepared for the absolute chaos of a real human conversation.
The initial plan pretty much reflected that same optimism. It was this neat, clean, four-step process. You design the logic, you write the code, whip up a few test chats, and then you just check if it works. A perfect straight line from point A to point B. But, as we're about to find out, the path to building a truly smart, robust AI, well, it's never a straight line.
And this brings us to the first really big turning point in the story. The team figured out pretty fast that you can't build a great agent if you haven't even defined what great is. How do you know if you've succeeded? What does good enough actually look like?
Their answer was to create what they called a gold standard. They built out 20 foundational scenarios that covered basically everything. We're talking a dead air conditioner in the middle of a heat wave, a customer trying to haggle on price, or even someone just asking what filter size they need. This wasn't just about testing anymore, this was about defining the absolute rock-solid core competence of the agent. If it couldn't nail these 20 situations, it just wasn't ready.
Okay, so with that gold standard locked in, it was time for a trial by fire. And to really test this thing at a massive scale, the team did something brilliant. They pitted AI against AI in this huge simulation. So you've got one AI playing the agent and another one playing a human customer, letting them run through thousands and thousands of conversations at lightning speed.
And this is where things get really interesting. Look at the difference here. On one hand, you've got manual testing. Sure, it works, but it's slow, it's predictable, and you know you're going to miss those weird edge cases. But then you have this multi-agent simulation. It is fast, totally unpredictable, and just brutally effective at finding those deep, hidden flaws you'd never think to look for. Think of it like this. Are you going to test a bridge by just driving a car over it, or are you going to hit it with a hurricane? That's the difference we're talking about.
And yep, the simulation found dragons almost immediately. And here's a perfect, almost hilarious example. In one of the tests, the AI that was playing the human got totally confused about its own identity. It started the conversation as Jerry Seinfeld, but then a few lines later it goes, "Wait, who is Jerry Seinfeld? My name is Sarah Jenkins." And this was the very first sign of a really critical bug they called an identity leak.
And believe me, that was just the tip of the iceberg. The simulation just started uncovering this whole nightmare of critical bugs. We're talking infinite booking loops where it just couldn't stop. The identity leaks, like the one we just saw, it was booking clients who lived miles and miles outside the service area, and it was completely ignoring the company's own pricing rules. So, yeah, that simple little agent, it was nowhere near ready for prime time.
This flood of bugs is what kicked off the most important part of the whole project, the refinement cycle. See, the solution wasn't just to patch up individual bugs one by one. It was about fundamentally changing and evolving the agent's logic, its whole strategy, based on every single failure. It literally had to learn from its mistakes.
And this timeline really lays out that whole iterative journey. Each one of these steps, from R0 all the way to R5, was a major refinement cycle. R0 was all about fixing the spiel timing. R1 dealt with a silent booking bug. R2 and R3 had to fix these crazy extraction loops. R4, that was the identity leak. And R5 finally baked in the proper service area logic. It was just this relentless cycle of test, fail, learn, and improve, over and over again.
Now, to guide all this refinement, the team knew they needed a smarter way to measure success, so they came up with something called heuristic ranking. And instead of just a simple pass or fail, this system actually scored the quality of the conversation. Was it actually helpful? Was it polite? Crucially, did it avoid sounding like a robot even while it was trying to get the job done?
Okay, check this out. This is a perfect example of how that system actually worked in practice. So in an early version, the agent scored a perfect 5 out of 5 on always be closing. Awesome, right? It turned a simple question into a booking. But it got a 1 out of 5, a complete and total fail on spiel timing and frequency. Why? Because it was using its closing spiel on every single turn. You can imagine how annoying and intrusive that felt. And that's the beauty of this system. It let the developers see exactly what was broken and what needed to be fixed.
So, after all of this, all these cycles of testing and failure and refinement, what did they end up with? Well, we're at the end of our quest now, and we're looking at a truly battle-hardened agent, one that was forged in the chaos of that simulation. I mean, just look at what this thing can do now. It can handle life safety emergencies, like if someone smells something burning from their heater. It can manage really complex logistics, rescheduling, tenant billing, you name it. It can even de-escalate angry customers and strictly enforces all the business rules, like the service area. Every single one of these capabilities is a direct result of a bug they found and a refinement cycle that fixed it.
This quote from one of the development logs just nails the core lesson of this whole process, doesn't it? The simulation is the mirror that shows us where the agent needs to improve. We then take those insights and apply them to the brain. It's so true. Great AI isn't just coded from some perfect blueprint. It's forged through this relentless, iterative cycle of facing its own flaws and getting better. And that really leaves us with this final kind of fascinating question to chew on. The agent's biggest breakthroughs, its biggest leaps forward, didn't come from its successes. They came directly from its failures. So what does that really teach us about the best way to build intelligent systems in the future? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me.